Gentlemen, welcome to JewishTV.media. Today's topic is happiness. There once was a very great man by the name of Akiva. He wasn't just Akiva, he was Rabbi Akiva. How did he become Rabbi? That's another story. Maybe I can say that another time. But he was a very famous rabbi, one of the most famous rabbis in the history of the Jewish people. Rabbi Akiva once was traveling in the forest from town to town, and he was traveling, and his mode of transportation was a donkey. And he was on a donkey, and he had a few items with him. He had a candle, he had a rooster, and he had some books. And as he's traveling in the forest, and it's getting dark, it's already the afternoon, he sees there's a village, and the sun's about to set, and he gets to the village just after sunset. And he gets to the village just after sunset, and as he gets to the village, he's thinking, you know what? It's getting dark, the sun has already set. Maybe the village will allow me to sleep here for the night so that I can rest myself and continue traveling tomorrow. I don't want to travel today continue traveling because there are robbers in the forest, there are wild animals, it could be dangerous. Gets to the village, there's a guard there standing. The gates are closed, sun has already set, and the village closes its gates at sunset. And he says to the guard, can you please let me in? I need somewhere to stay for the night. And the guard says, we're very sorry, but after sunset, the gates are closed, we don't let anybody in, and we don't let anybody out, and there are no exceptions. What would you do if you were Rabbi Akiva at the time? Would you use a four-letter word? Would you get upset? Would you get angry? Would you shout? Would you carry on? Not Rabbi Akiva. He smiled, he was happy. And he said the famous words, Kol ma da'ovid rachmana l'tav ovid, everything Hashem does is for the best. This must be good. Okay, how it's good we don't know. But he accepts it. And he goes back into the forest and he finds a clearing and he thinks, you know what, I'll have to sleep here in the middle of the forest for the night. He finds a clearing, sets himself up, and it gets dark and he starts to learn. And he has some matches, one match left, strikes the match, lights the candle, and he's going to learn from his book as long as the candle can burn. And of course, things are going great until a wind comes and blows out the candle. And that's it, he's used up his matches. He can't read anymore, he can't learn. What would you do? If you were Rabbi Akiva out there in the forest in the cold, and the only thing that you're interested in doing is learning, and your candle goes out, you would get upset. Well, not necessarily. I'm not predicting that you would get upset, but most people would get upset. Most people would get angry, most people would get frustrated. Most people would be upset, but not Rabbi Akiva. He smiles. And he says his famous words, Kol man da'ovid rachmana l'tav ovid, everything Hashem does is for the best. This is from God. Must be good. Okay, so he's got nothing better to do. He can't read, he can't learn. He lies down to go to sleep. And of course he has his rooster there. And the rooster is his alarm clock, because as soon as it gets morning, the rooster's going to crow and it'll wake him up. So he'll be able to continue along the way. Not 5 minutes passes, and along comes a wild animal. I think it was a fox or a wolf, one of them, comes along and grabs his rooster and eats it for dinner. What would you do if your alarm clock just got consumed? Most people would be pretty upset, pretty sad, pretty angry. Not Rabbi Akiva. He smiles, he turns to Hashem, he says, Kol ma David Rachmana l'tavav, everything our God does is for the best. This too is for the best. It must be good. How? We don't know, but we accept and we have faith. Okay. Tries to go back to sleep and he hears big roars. He wakes up and he sees a lion coming towards him and he gets a fright. And the lion pounces on his donkey and grabs the donkey and eats it for dinner. What would you do if your car was just eaten? I mean, that was the olden day version of a car, the donkey. That was his form of transportation. Does he get upset? Does he get angry? Does he shout? Not Rabbi Akiva. He's lost his donkey. It's all good. Kol ma David Rachmana l'tavav, everything God does is for the best. It's all good. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. He has faith. Goes back to sleep. Couldn't get into the village. His candle went out. His rooster was eaten. His donkey was eaten. Is he sad? Is he upset? Is he angry? Not Rabbi Akiva. He has faith that everything from Hashem, everything is good. It's all good. Goes to sleep. Wakes up in the morning and he sees a pillar of smoke in the distance, like a fire. And he starts walking. Doesn't have a donkey to ride on. He's walking. And he goes and he sees that pillar of smoke is coming from the same direction as the village that he walked past last night. So he goes up to see what's going on. He sees the entire village is in ruins. The houses are smashed. The gates are broken. There's burning. There's fire. There's dead bodies everywhere. It's a scene of total devastation. And he is under the rubble of one building, someone saying, help! And he runs over, he moves the rubble away, and he pulls out this person who's alive. And he says, what's going on? What happened here? He said, last night, in the middle of the night, a band of vicious highwaymen, robbers, thieves, murderers came to our village and stole everything they could and plundered all of our gold and all of our valuables and destroyed the city and killed everyone they could find. And I was able to hide underneath a table in my house and the whole house came crashing down and I was stuck under the rubble and you've saved my life. And then it dawns on Rabbi Akiva that had he been allowed into the village last night by that guard, he would have met the same fate as everyone else. He could have been killed. And had his candle not gone out in the forest, then that light would have shined and maybe the robbers as they were walking through would have seen him and could have killed him. And had the rooster not been consumed by the wolf or the whatever other animal it was that ate the rooster, it could have made noise in the middle of the night. Again, the robbers would have found him. And the same thing about the donkey. He could have brayed in the middle of the night. The robbers could have found him. And then it dawned upon him that all these bad things that happened, seemingly bad things, were ultimately, for him, and for the villagers, they all perished. We're talking about from his perspective, from Rabbi Akiva's perspective. Everything that happened that seemed bad ultimately turned out to be good. And this is a very important lesson in life, and that is that if we want to be happy, then the greatest impediment to happiness is when bad things happen to us, when something goes wrong, when things go unexpectedly not to plan, and then we get upset. But if we have faith, like Rabbi Akiva, that Kol ma David Rachmana l'tavav, that everything God does is good, that everything is for the best, then no matter what comes our way, whether it's good or whether it's bad, we will thank God, as the Torah teaches us. And Halacha says, "Kashem shemavarchim ala tov, kach mavarchim ala ra." The same way we bless and thank God for the bad, for the good, we should bless and thank God for the bad too, because everything ultimately is good, because everything ultimately is God and comes from Him. Thank you very much for watching JewishTV.media.
JewishTV.media